Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to another live here this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We appreciate everyone that comes on. We love you guys more than you know. I'm always boasting about our audience, how wonderful you guys are. Okay, I want to say hello, do a little roll call this morning, as much as I can go. Nativity, numero uno today. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Lori Lee. Lori Lee, I want to meet you. Ventura, California. Brahim, Portland, Oregon. Good morning. And Mary, Joanne, Monette, how are you? Nick from our staff. Jeanette, good morning. Chantal, Ottawa. We appreciate you guys. Zian, bonjour. Oh, Lori Lee says, come and visit. I would love that. Ruth in Ohio. Another Lori from Peterborough. Yala, bonjour. Another Zian, two Zians. Madeleine from Kipawa. Gloria, good morning. Jean and Nellie. Faithful, you guys. Marl, how are you? Wanda, how are you? And Kevin, my friend from Oshawa. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia, and she got her book. Fran, Valkaren, Diane, good morning. Jerry, Nouveau Brunswick. Debbie, Rice Lake. Wanda from Virginia. Ginny, bonjour. Len and Judy, Edmonton, Alberta. Francis, good morning. Stephanie and Bob. Sue, good morning. Natalia, how is you? Gail, Touchwood Hill, Saskatchewan. Jackie, Belle-Île, Helga. Good morning. Helga and Dave, as a matter of fact. Kathy from the Philippines. Donna from Bell Valley. Cecilia, you got your book. Well, thank you. Suzanne. Guys, I think we got to say it this morning. Leela from Verner. Flo. Corona. I know where Corona is. Kathy. Teresa. Sunny, Mississauga. And Barbara. And Wendy, good morning. Donna. And Karen, good morning. Bruno, North Bay. And Brenda, Campbell River. Denise, good morning, guys. Darlene, how are you? Okay, Bonnie from Annandale, Minnesota. Fran from where? Fran, I was waiting on you. Jocelyn. I missed you, Jocelyn. Sorry. Sharon from Kansas. Going to be hot. And Kevin's got his book. Linda, New Brunswick. Okay. Now, the other day, I'm trying to think. I can't. Guys, when they tell you about these observational studies and they ask you, okay, what did you have to eat last week? Hey, I got trouble remembering what I ate yesterday. But the reason I'm saying is because I'm trying to remember what day I talked about atrial fib. And there's a new study on atrial fib. Okay? And where the heart gets out of whack. And it can be very dangerous. Atrial fib can be dangerous, leading to stroke. And never take that lightly. But I did talk about the importance of the heart muscle. And I think today, one of the big reasons we see so much problems with atrial fib is because of heart muscle. And that's why I always talk about CoQ10. And people's hearts, when they get congestive heart failure or atrial fib, I know they're not the same, but I'm just telling you, The muscle of the heart has a lot to do with that rhythm of the heart. And the new study says there's a direct link to atrial fib and low levels of omega-3. Low levels of omega-3. Now, in the last 40 years, the consumption of red meat has gone downwards. Big time. Big time. And when it goes down this way in the consumption of red meat, sun, steak, and steel, and I mean steak, when it goes down, ground beef, roast beef, even pork, I put in the category of red meat, but it's not steak, okay? It's not quite as good. But anyway, as the consumption of steak went down, people, what did they do? They replaced that with the consumption of crappy carbohydrates. It's not like we got, people started living on fruits and vegetables, which I don't recommend, by the way. Not that I don't like fruits and vegetables, but you know how I talk all the time. I don't want you living on the plant kingdom. Because the plant kingdom will give you some omega-3s. But they're not the long-chain fatty acid. And this study says on atrial fib, the heart needs that long-chain fatty acid found in acids that are found in the animal kingdom. And again, because people thought they were smarter, red meat and cholesterol, red meat and acidic, red meat, it's no good for you, red meat, this, that, and the other thing, the consumption went down and we've been sicker ever since. And there's other factors because of the introduction of high fructose corn syrup, which is well documented. But people got away from omega-3, especially the long-chain fatty acids of DHA and EPA. EPA a little bit less. DHA is the best. That rhymes. So this study says it's very important to get your omega-3 levels up for your heart. I always link the heart and brain together because whatever affects your heart in the right way will affect your brain in the right way. You need that omega-3. And here's what the study says, okay? I'm just reading what the study says here, okay? Omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA, provide building blocks for all your cells, including your muscle cells. They're building blocks. Secondly, the reason they figure it works for atrial fib, or if you're not getting enough omega-3, you're much more susceptible to atrial fib. And they say it's because that omega-3 reduces inflammation. And they call it let me just say it right, inflammaging. The muscle in your heart, your heart's a muscle, ages quicker without omega-3. And omega-3 helps to balance your blood sugar. These are all the reasons that they're talking about with omega-3. If you help to lower your blood sugar with omega-3, you're helping with insulin resistance. Okay. Always comes back to insulin, doesn't it? Friend, good oil. You need to lubricate. You need to lubricate. So this is really important. That's why one of the reasons that steak is such a perfect food. Fish is good. I love fish. I have fish every day in a capsule. Fish is so good. I wish I liked it more in terms of eating it. But fish is fantastic. Okay? But steak is better. When it comes to all the nutrients, it's better. And it actually has higher DHA if you get a grass-fed beef. And this is why I talk about it all the time. And I go over in great detail the importance. Okay? And listen to part of the study said this. Okay? New study on atrial fib, but there was a little preamble to the study, and it said this on omega-3. 70% of all adults in North America are deficient in omega-3, 70%. And listen to this, 95% of kids. Because the geniuses, so-called geniuses, have got us eating the wrong oil. We're eating so much omega-6. And you get some omega-6 in plants, okay? And that doesn't make them bad for you. The problem is that ratio is because we've introduced the processed foods that are made with oils that were meant for your car, seed oils, grapeseed oil, Canada's gift to the world, canola. You can run a plane with canola, but it's not meant for your body. It's not. These oils, okay, they're so high in omega-6. And what happens when people, and this is a big factor that I always said, look, one of the reasons the reset can be so effective. Yes, you're laying off sugar. And of course, that's important, right? You're not eating sugar. 30 days, no sugar. I mean, that is so dramatic for most people. Okay? 30 days with no carbohydrates. And there's some good carbs, guys. But when you go 30 days without them, again, it's dramatic in terms of what it does to insulin. But what people don't realize as much, you know, you might be a good eater and you go, well, the reset, you know, like people talk to me about that all the time, the reset. Well, Dr. Martin, I can have some fruits and vegetables. Yeah, you can. Not on the reset. But why do you do that? Well, look, you know, I got a lot of reasons. I explain it in the book. I talk about the metabolic reset and whatever. But one of the biggest factors, and this has nothing to do with fruits and vegetables, one of the biggest reasons it's so successful with autoimmune, okay, because it lowers omega-6. It lowers that ratio between omega-6 and omega-3. Your body responds to that. Omega-6, we're up to 22 to 1. I mean, you read different studies and I've seen it 30 to 1 ratio omega-6. Most people, when they're carboholics, let me tell you this. Yes, they're eating way too much sugar. Yes, they're eating way too many carbs. But the problem is their ratio between omega-6 and omega-3, and they don't get near enough omega-3. And what happens? That creates an inflammation response in the body. And that inflammation goes on to destroy. Inflammation is like the fog of war. Cells can't communicate with each other properly. So you go to a restaurant. I mean, hey, doc, it's protein. Yeah, I know, but it's what they cook it in. Chicken nuggets wouldn't be that bad if they weren't cooked in the wrong oil. It's the oil they use. And again, the geniuses of this world, because they're always so worried about fat, that fat makes you fat, and fat, cholesterol, and fat is bad, that they invented a man-made oil. It's man-made. These seed oils that are meant for your car and not for you. And that creates such a cascade of problems in the body. Okay? So, at the end of the day, okay, why is omega-3 one of my favorite supplements? Because here's what the study said. I didn't say it. 70% of adults are deficient in omega-3. You can have omega-3 tested. Good luck trying to get that as a test, a routine test. It should be done. And 95% of children, no wonder we see so much autism. No wonder we see so many kids with their brains malfunctioning. They got the wrong oil. They got it upside down, and they don't have enough omega-3. They don't have those long-chain fatty acids that when one calls you a fathead, you take it as a compliment. I want to be called fathead. I don't want my brain to shrink. You ever seen a brain? An Alzheimer's patient brain? It's like a prune, man. They shrink. You want your brain full of fat. Good fat. Oil, man. Oil's good. Make sure you're getting the right oil. Okay? Okay. Now, the other day I was telling you about this study, and I want to just bring it up again. New study on sleep and napping. Okay? Sun, steak, and steel, and sleep. Oh, wow. Sleep is important. Listen to this new regular daytime napping. Okay? Regular daytime napping. So I'm a big guy on that. Get 10 to 15 minutes siesta. Okay? You don't need to go a long time. Is linked to bigger, healthier brains, according to a new study. So omega-3, better heart, better brain. Sleep. If you don't sleep at night, okay? But this is a daytime sleep. a nap, a power, I used to call it a power nap. 15, 10, 20 minutes. Okay? Increases the size of your brain. Isn't that good? Okay. New study on sleep and napping. Not a bad idea. Your brain will grow and not shrink. And for those of you who have trouble sleeping at night, I talked about this. Make sure you get some during the day. You got to sleep. Okay, now, new study on insulin resistance. Okay? So I'm giving you a little bit of a hodgepodge here today. One on omega-3 and atrial fib. One on sleep and having that little nap, which is good. Just doubling down on the importance of sleep. Listen to this. Insulin resistance. Okay? 5 major causes. Of course, the number one thing, for sure, when you talk about insulin, insulin's a food hormone. Okay? And you know what insulin resistance is? Your cells at the cellular level stop, well, they don't completely stop responding to insulin because they can't. But they don't like insulin. And because people are carboholics, your cells at the cellular level, it's the number one problem in the world today. Because it's at the root of metabolic syndrome. And when cells get tired of insulin. But there's other factors. So food, okay? Food is the key. It's the thing you can turn around in 30 days. This is why the metabolic reset. But listen to other factors, okay, that make your cells even more resistant to insulin, okay? Food, numero uno, okay? Food, obviously, because insulin is a food hormone. But here's what will make your cells even more resistant. Okay, this is a new study out. Dehydration. Did you know that? Dehydration will make your cells, look, dehydration on their own. Okay, let's just say you're dehydrated. Does that make your cells insulin resistant? No. Not in the absence of being a bad eater. But what they're saying is, okay, this new study on insulin resistance, very interesting. You know what aggravates insulin resistance? When you're dehydrated. My friend, vitamin W. Okay? Now in the book, if you got it, Sun, Steak, and Steel, I have a whole chapter on dehydration. You know how much I love vitamin W? Water. And I have a chapter on salt, because I'm big on salt. Okay? They blame salt for what sugar does. But dehydration seems to have an aggravating factor on insulin resistance. Who knew? That's why, guys, there isn't anyone on the planet that doesn't need water. And I don't want you to eat your water. Like, I know there's watermelon, Dr. Martin. How many times I heard that over the years? Oh, yeah, well, I have watery fruits. The berries are water. And you know what? Coffee is water. 95% of coffee is water. Yeah. I know. But water is water, and nothing else is water. Okay? Drink your water, and then you can have some watery fruits if you want. I don't care. Good for you. But never let that be a substitute for drinking water. Other factors in insulin resistance: dehydration, poor sleep. Do you know that they have taken, I comment on this in the book, they've taken people, okay, and measured insulin resistance, okay? And they were perfectly no insulin resistance at all. But then they were put in a very stressful situation for a prolonged period of time, and their sleep was affected. And then they developed insulin resistance, even without the bad food. Wow. But it shows you guys the importance again of getting cortisol down. Some people, they live in a state of fear, a state of high cortisol. Your body wasn't made for that. Cortisol is a protective mechanism. It's good for you, but it's a double-edged sword. Not prolonged. It's just not good for you prolonged. And we live in a world today, and I've been saying this for 30 years at least. But seriously, guys, cortisol messes up just about everything. The reason is because it pours gasoline on the fire of inflammation. But it also can be a factor in insulin resistance. At the end of the day, that's a big factor in, well, it's the huge factor in metabolic syndrome, 93% of the population have high circulating insulin. And your body, over a period of time when your cortisol is high, that, guys, I used to measure it. It was unreal. It was almost like, gee, what planet am I on? Everybody's got high cortisol. And it was unreal, the amount of people. So the importance of sleep, of course, because you got high cortisol, you don't sleep. You don't sleep, you get high cortisol. It's a vicious cycle, and it's no fun under the sun. Hey, speaking of the sun, listen, Linda, listen. This is another factor in the study on insulin resistance. Again, not the major cause, because bad eating, crappy carbs, sugars is what causes insulin resistance. But here's an aggravating factor, they say, not enough sun. Oh boy. Is there anything that the sun isn't good for? Is there anything that the sun isn't good for? Imagine making the sun the boogeyman. And the war on vitamin D. Thank God for you guys. Otherwise, I'd be discouraged. I know you get it. But imagine at your cells, okay? Think of your cells for a minute. Just think of those little wee cells in your body. Muscle cells, heart cells, brain cells, you name the cell. Bone cells. They have an outer lining. They have receptors for insulin. But when insulin wants to come and open up the cell wall, the cells can develop a resistance to it. And one of the aggravating factors to that is the lack of sun. Boy, the sun does a lot of things for your immune system. But here we are talking about insulin resistance, and it can be an aggravating factor. Not enough sun. Not enough sun. Sun, steak, and steel. And the other one is inflammation. Again, remember what I was saying about inflammation and insulin resistance? Well, why is that? Think about that for a minute. I want you to think about it. Omega-3 lowers inflammation, and it actually lowers insulin resistance. Why? Because when it lowers inflammation, remember what I says inflammation is. It's the fog of war. Your cells can't communicate with each other. And insulin resistance is your coating on the cells. Ew, get away from me, insulin. Now, insulin's going to come at those cells no matter what. It'll just use more and more and more and more of it. But the fog of war, inflammation, if you don't get enough omega-3 and you're eating too much omega-6, so it does come back to food in a lot of ways. But a good oil helps your cells become more sensitive to insulin. You want insulin sensitivity, not resistance. You get the drift? Okay? So it's really, really important. Okay? How do you help with insulin resistance? First thing, do the reset. The reset is for everyone. No exceptions. It's for everyone. That's the world we live in today. It's for everyone. Not everyone's going to do it, but it doesn't mean it's not for everyone. It's for everyone. You do not need for 30 days any carbohydrates. You just don't. Well, you never need it. Carbohydrates, look, I'm not saying you're never going to eat them. Okay, please don't misquote me. I'm just telling you it's not essential. Protein is essential. Fat is essential. And carbs are optional. And we put them at the bottom of the pyramid, meaning that the foundation, they put all the carbs there. Very little protein and almost no fat except bad fats. We got the world, guys. We got that pyramid upside down. Because you talk to any dietitian. I had a dietitian tell one of you guys last week, well, your brain needs so many carbs to operate in a day. I think it was 150 grams of carbs. I said, what planet is that person living on? You don't need that. What do you need that for? Your brain don't need carbohydrates. Your brain needs fat. Your brain needs protein. If you never had another carb in your lifetime, you'd be all right. That's a fact, guys. That's just a fact. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just telling you. If your body needs any sugar, it will take a steak and make some sugar. Okay, now, little announcement. I'm off tomorrow, traveling tomorrow. Okay, off tomorrow, back Friday. So tell everyone. We'll put some notices out too, okay? So off tomorrow, back Friday. Okay, and if you haven't got your copy of the book, Sun, Steak, and Steel, available and well on its way to be #1 in Canada. well on its way. We appreciate that, guys. It's a week today that the book has been available. Thank you guys for making it so successful. We appreciate it. Okay? We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.